G'day, welcome to iCULTIVATE. My name's Steve. Today we're going to be having a look at how we plant out these asparagus crowns. Now, some years ago I posted a video about looking after asparagus, and there's a link down below to that particular video, but I got a lot of questions about how do you actually plant the crowns. So let's have a look at that. Now, a few things that you must be mindful of when it comes to planting your asparagus crowns include asparagus need full sun, and so where you plant them out must have full sun for most of the year. The next thing that you need to be mindful of is the fact that the soil must be really well draining. Asparagus crowns sitting in soil that is not well draining will not do well. Okay, so you must make sure that the soil is well draining. Now, I'm putting these into a raised bed, and so therefore I'm almost guaranteed, as long as the soil I put them into is good, I'm almost guaranteed that it's well draining. So make sure that your soil is well draining. The next thing is that asparagus are very heavy feeders, and so therefore you must make sure that the soil contains quite a lot of good organic matter, well-aged compost to start off with, and then over the years your normal routine will be adding more well-aged compost to that soil. So to summarise, full sun is a must, well-draining soil is also a must, and lastly, the soil must be rich in organic matter because asparagus is a heavy feeder. So in terms of placement of your asparagus crowns, the rule of thumb is about 20 to 30 centimetres apart. Now, I actually think that that's a little close, so I'm going to actually space these out a little bit further so you can see where these crowns are going to be located. Now, we start with digging a trench that is about 25 centimetres deep. So I guess 25 centimetres would be about 8 inches, 9 inches, something like that. So let's get those trenches dug. So I've now got my 2 trenches dug, and what I'm going to do now is to add a layer of well-aged cow and sheep manure. Now, this is granulated cow and sheep manure. It's about 50-50 blend of those 2 manures. And I'm going to add a layer of this manure to the bottom of each trench. So what I've now got in each of these trenches is approximately 5 or 6 inches of the granulated manure, and I'm going to now add on top of that a layer of soil. This manure is going to really give the asparagus something to get its feet down into, and is going to enrich it for years to come. So now I've got my asparagus crowns laid out in their position on top of that layer of manure and then soil, and now I'm going to backfill the trench with the soil that I lifted out before. Now, ultimately, the crowns themselves are only going to be somewhere between 2 to 4 inches below the actual surface, but of course we have built up that rich bed of material below the crown in the process. So let's now backfill these. Now, before I backfill this one, just a point to note, make sure that when you lay the crown out that you are very mindful of which is the top of the crown and which is the bottom. You need to ensure that the top of the crown is pointing uppermost, and just spread the roots out in a fan-like arrangement as much as is possible. Something else worthy of note is that the traditional method that you may see in other instructions is to create a mound. You would only create that mound if the soil was not so well draining, and because we've got this raised bed, we have got really good draining soil, so we don't need to create that mound. So let's backfill this one now. that our crowns are in the soil, I'm going to finish the process off by putting a layer of this well-aged manure over the top to assist with that feeding of those crowns as they grow the new spears through the surface in the coming months. I'll then finish that with a layer of mulch to help with the moisture retention in the soil. So let's get that done. So I'm finishing this process off by giving them a good water in, and given that it is now spring, I am really hopeful that we're going to start to see some wonderful asparagus spears starting to emerge as we move through and into the summer. Now you do need to be mindful that you won't be able to harvest those initial spears. You need to let them go all the way through to form ferns and to allow these crowns that we have just planted to mature. It's probably going to be about 3 years before you actually will be harvesting these asparagus spears. But I promise you, you're going to really appreciate those spears in the years to come. Asparagus is a wonderful perennial plant to have in your garden. It's just that it's a little bit of effort in the beginning. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. Can I please ask you to go down to the thumbs up and give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and go to our website iCULTIVATE.net and become a member of the community. Thanks for watching.